Hey everybody, so I've been trying to make this video now for like 20 minutes, and every time I start I realize that there's another level or layer I need to explain to even explain the first initial point I want to make. And the first initial point I wanted to make was the following. See, I've seen a lot of things on social media lately where trainers, professionals are telling people that there's certain exercises that can work smaller muscles versus larger muscles, or stabilizing muscles versus mover muscles, okay? It's not true. And the point I wanted to get across is that's not true, that can't happen. But as I'm saying this, like, I'm recognizing, man, I think I gotta talk to people about what a stabilizer muscle is too, right? Because a stabilizing muscle versus a moving muscle, that's kind of a made up thing also. So where do I begin, right? This gets kind of complicated. So let me try to tease a few things out. Let me not get too deep. And if anyone's watching this, and if anyone has some real deep questions, reach out to me, because I'm not going to get that deep in this video. So here we go. Let's use an example, because I think that'll help. A rotator cuff muscle, all right? And let's use this subscapularis. The subscapularis is one of the rotator cuff muscles. 4 muscles make up the rotator cuff. So you have 4 muscles in the left shoulder, 4 on the right. So let's look at one of those 4 in the left shoulder, subscapularis. And people will say, hey, there's certain exercises that'll work that muscle, not say a larger muscle like the pec, okay? And you know, people will kind of say, well, the bench press works the pec, but you need some sort of internal rotation muscle, internal rotation motion to work the subscapularis, this smaller muscle, this rotator cuff muscle. Here's the thing. That's not true. It does not work that way. It's very simple to explain and show with math and physics, mechanics, why that's not true. So if you heard enough and you're like, okay, it's not true, I believe this guy, me, then you can shut off the video. But if you want to know a little more, let me see a little bit more. The thing that determines whether or not a muscle works or not, there's a few things. One of those things is where the muscle attaches, which side of the joint it crosses, which side of the axis it's on, and is there a need being created that this muscle needs to respond to. If you've got all that stuff and everything matches up, those muscles will work. And the issue here with an example like the pec versus the subscapularis is both muscles are on the same side of the joint. So, okay, both muscles run in the same direction, and they both attach on bones that cross the joint. So they can both perform very similar motions. So if you were to be doing this bench press motion like this, you know, a bench press, this kind of thing, both of those muscles are going to work based on their attachments, based on the side of the joint they cross, the side of the axis, all those things. Everything matches up for both of them. So there's no way to get one of those working versus the other. And we can play that little game, run that scenario with all sorts of joints all over the place where there's a larger muscle and a smaller one. It'll always be the same. You cannot differentiate that way. Even if I were to take an exercise like an internal rotation exercise, you know, where like I grab something and I turn in, right? Where we typically think of that as an internal rotation motion or a rotator cuff exercise, your pec is still working. It's still working based on the attachments of both muscles, based on the side of the joint that they lie, all that stuff. They're both working. You can't separate that out. Now, one quick word on this idea of a stabilizing muscle. There is no such thing as a stabilizing muscle per se. In other words, stabilizing means not allowing motion, right? So like if if someone's trying to jostle me around, I want to stabilize myself. Okay. We always use all the same muscles to do all the same stuff. The question is, do we want those muscles to move us, or do we want those muscles to not move us? Depending on what they're doing, you can say they're stabilizing or they're moving me. That's it, right? So an example, let's stick with this bench press thing. If I'm doing this bench press, I've got some muscles that I want to move this bone, right? Well, the other thing is I may not want my shoulder blade to be moving around. I'm not saying that's bad, I'm just in this example. So that means I need some muscles to stabilize my shoulder blade while I do this, right? The muscles that do that, I'm not going to call them stabilizing muscles, because those same muscles in another exercise can actively retract, can actively pull me back. So it's not that there's some muscles that are stabilizers and some that are movers. That's not how it works at all. At some times, some muscles will contract and disallow motion. At other times, those same muscles will contract and cause motion or allow motion. And that's what we're talking about. And that may be an insignificant difference to you, but depending on who you are, if you're in the profession, maybe it means more to you. If you're someone offering advice, hopefully it means a lot more than you. If you're a client or an exerciser, I'm not sure if it helps or makes a difference or not. If you have questions and you want to know why I'm explaining the difference, reach out, let me know. But I think the better we know, the better we understand how things are really working, the better our prescriptions can be, the less weird, fake misinformation we'll fall for. So we got to know the facts, understand how things work, and in the end, we're going to have better workouts, better sessions, better adaptations, and probably reach our goals faster. Thanks.